Okay, all right. So, welcome to the first episode of Will I Find UX Content. Now, this is going to be a series where I just randomly talk about what I read recently, what I came across recently, maybe things about what I did recently at work, and so on. And the ultimate goal is find some content on which I can talk in a more scripted or more curated fashion, at least once, if possible, twice a week. Right, so that's the idea. So yeah, this may not be very fruitful. This may not be very fruitful for the audience, but I created this so that I make it a practice, make it a habit to talk about what I want to talk about. Right, it's kind of like second, third level of inception. Uh, if I can say that. So yeah, don't expect much from these live streaming episodes. Maybe over the period of time, I'll see if I can add anything useful for the audience as well. Because right now, it's purely very selfish. Right, but anyway, with that, let's get started. Today, I think I'll go back to my information architecture book. And yeah, the title of the book is, just give me a minute, the book is coming up on my Kindle library. So I open the cover. How do I open the cover? Let me figure it out. Okay, usually there is in Kindle Reader there is an option to see the cover. Okay, the name of the book is Information Architecture for the Web and Beyond, and it is an O'Reilly publication, if I am pronouncing it right. So yeah, let's see. I'm trying to keep this inside of an hour. Let's see if I can even. I mean, it could go either way. I might not be able to talk for an hour, or I might end up talking more than an hour. We'll see how it goes. This is the first episode, so I'm keeping very low expectations for myself. Now, this book, talking about this book, Information Architecture for the Web and Beyond, I highly recommend any one who's aspiring to be a UX designer, or someone who's also experienced and want to upskill or cross skill, want to become a better UX designer than they are today. Because this book changed my view about UX design completely. I don't want to give away any more spoilers, but fair warning though, this book is about 440 pages, and it's a very heavy read. You will need a lot of patience, and it's a very dense book, if I can use that term. All right, let's see. I'm just looking at the table of contents. Let's see if anything pops out, so we can talk about it. See if that is a content that is worth publishing. All right. Oh, another thing that just came to my mind. One of the things that I am trying to do is put clickbait-worthy titles when I start making these videos. Um, probably I'm just looking at one of the basic frameworks or principles of information architecture, which is users, content, and context. Right? If I want to talk about this in a video, let me open my Google Keep so I can jot down these thoughts, because that's the objective for this whole live streaming. Alrighty. Now let me switch and different account. Yeah, fun fact, I am no longer using Chrome. I'm trying to avoid using Chrome on my personal laptop as much as possible. Not because of any privacy thing, but because it takes up so much RAM and it slows down the entire system. So, yeah, I mean, it occurred to me because now when I want to open Google Keep, it's a Chrome application. And yeah, I had to open Chrome to get access. So let's see. And another account. Okay, this is not working. But I will just open maybe another Edge window. For some reason, I'm not able to switch between accounts and Gmail in the Keep application. Alright, I'm going to say UX content. I'm creating a new Google Keep note and calling it UX content running notes. This is something that I do at work. I have again we use Google Suite for our office work. Where we use Google Docs, Google Drive, all of that stuff to document, to communicate, to present, and so on. And in my office Google Keep account, I have a note titled Running Notes, and I recently created a new one called Running Notes 2 because the original Running Notes ran out of characters. I was taking notes on it pretty much for 2-3 months together, and it met the character limit. I don't know what's the character limit. It just did not allow me to add any more characters of notes basically. So I had to create a new one. So now I am on Running Notes 2. Just some random bit. I warned you guys that this may not be very fruitful for you. I also have a. I wish I could show you guys this. I have a huge. I think this is a 500 ml mug from which I'm drinking cold water. Alright. Okay, so back to clickbait titles. Right. So if I am going to talk about users, content, and context framework or principle, the title for this might be something like you should stop your design. You should stop working on. You should stop designing and watch this. You know, or you are, if you are not doing this, your designs are no good. They basically tell people that they are wrong and they are doing something wrong, so they just maybe have FOMO or feel insecure, feed off of that insecurity. I mean, just kidding. But yeah, the idea is use clickbait titles like this. Just give me a minute. Let me see if my live streaming has audio. Otherwise, it'll look very funny. Okay. I am talking, but I don't see any audio coming from my live stream. I think it is all gone bad. Okay, just picking up some mic, but let me see what is the setting for the mic. Okay, it is a built-in microphone. Okay. All right. The audio is broadcasting. So yeah, maybe this UX users content context is a good thing to talk about um in depth. Right, what is it? What is it about? Why should we use that, and so on. So let me get back to the book, and I am jumping to that section in the book. Okay, let me try and read this. Right. So what I'm doing is I'm basically opening Kindle on my on one of, I don't know what you call it in macOS, one of those workspace thingies, and I'm resizing the window so it is easier to read. I think I should share my screen from next time so you guys can see what I'm doing, and it's not very confusing or difficult to follow. All right. Okay, the title, the section, maybe the first chapter, maybe it is the second chapter, that talks about users' content and context. The title for that section or the chapter or the section is toward a damn good or damn good information architecture. All right, let's see. Users, content, context. You will hear these three words again and again throughout this book. They form the basis of our model for practicing effective information architecture. Blah blah blah. Okay, underlying this model is a recognition that you can't design useful information architecture in a vacuum. Okay, that's good. An architect can't have in a dark room with a bunch of content organizer. Easy. This is all great. Okay. Okay, they are showing a Venn diagram. I will most likely use this Venn diagram. It's funny, the Venn diagram, if you look at it in a different perspective, it looks like a biohazard symbol because it's made up of three circles. Alright, good information architecture is informed by three areas. Okay, blah blah blah. Okay, what are we talking about and content? Okay, just to give you guys an idea what is this framework is about. Users, of course, is very self-explanatory. Um, you have to think about who are your users, what are their needs, etc. Content is, of course, what is the piece of information. What is it that can answer or that can help your users complete a task, complete a goal, or make decisions, whatever it may be. So what type of content or what piece of information or what different pieces of information, what are the different pieces of information that can help, that goes into content. And from what I remember, context is more of which on which device they are accessing it. Um, yeah. But yeah, I think okay. I'm just gonna read what they are defining as context. All digital design projects exist within a particular business or organizational context, whether explicit or implicit. Each organization has a mission, Goal, strategy, blah blah blah. This collective mix of capabilities, aspirations, and resources. Okay, is unique to each organization. Okay. Alright, so they're talking about context in a different sense. I think I read context in the context of devices uh, in some other article. Back then itself, I was kind of confused because I remembered a different definition, the definition that I just read in this book. Right. So basically, what they are talking about is what are the users' goals, what is your organization's goal, what is the business goal, mission, vision, strategy, how your people interact with each other, what is the politics behind the different teams or different functions, different business units. You have to consider all of this, and all of this becomes part of your context, right? So yeah, context becomes more about, if I have to use metaphors, if your users are detectives and your content is a crime scene, your context is the lens through which your users are looking at the crime scene. Right, not a literal lens, but maybe who are the people who might have motivation to have committed the crime that has happened. I know it's a very bad metaphor, but yeah, I attempted. Just give me a minute, I got a notification on my mobile. It's a useless notification. Cool, so I think this looks like a convincing topic to talk about. Let's see what we find on the internet, what people say about this user's content and context framework. All right. Information architecture. Okay, there is a prototype article on it. There is a Muesli article, muz.li. I don't know if you pronounce it as muesli. I wonder if it is inspired by the muesli breakfast cereal thingy. All right. Okay, what are the goals? Quick context. What is this? Okay. Okay, this is completely structuring and organizing content. Hmm. Okay, context. What is the user seeking out of this content? When, why, and how is the user engaging with this content? Hmm. Yeah, I mean, this. I'm reading an article on prototyper.io. The context seems, I think the author is trying to simplify the context scope or context definition. What is put under context is what is a user seeking out of this content, and when, why, and how is a user engaging with this content. Right, so this is under context. What is a content? Content is what type of information are we dealing in, what relevance does it have to a user. All right. Now, users who's consuming this content, what does it mean to them? What value does it provide? What pre-existing expectations do they have? What is consuming? Who's consuming this content? What does it mean to them? Okay, cool. All right. I am not sure if I am convinced about the definitions here, but let's see. Information architecture and its importance in user experiences. Okay. All about organizing the content in a way that it can be understood. Okay, okay. Imagine yourself as the architect. In this case, you create the blueprints of a site, you do the research, and you place the space based on the flow of people in and out of the building. Okay, users, content, context. Just start. Oh god. Okay, I'm reading another article and it's all over the place. I mean, it talks about Gestalt principles, mental models. Uh, yeah, this is all over the place. I don't think this is a good article to follow. Okay, there isn't much on the internet that may be very useful to create content for this. All right. Okay, let me open. I think I'll use Figma maybe to create all of this, or I don't know if I should use Figma. I can create. Yeah, I have a UX videos project. What I'm going to do is create a Fig jam first. And I'm going to name it EP001. Sorry, 0001. I'm going to start collecting content for this. So the topic is going to be users, content, and context. Alright. Why? Okay, I think I should start with why you should use this framework. Why use this framework? Okay. What is? We can briefly talk about what we mean by users. Um, what we mean what I mean by users, and say what I instead of we. We, yeah, talking. I think it becomes a force of habit from talking in so many of these meetings that I keep referring to my team as my design team as we. So yeah. Anyway, I tend to digress. What I mean by content and context. Of course, one thing that I keep worrying about this live streaming is somebody else, uh, and just overthinking maybe. But yeah, if someone else is looking at the content or listening to this content, they can also create a video out of this. But yeah, I hope that doesn't happen for very selfish reasons. Okay. So what I mean by content and context, what I'm thinking about the time, ideal time for these videos. I think maybe 6 minutes is a good idea, max. We put that also in the picture at 6 minutes. So it's between um, talking about a certain topic enough, and at the same time, it's not so short that it doesn't give you any takeaway. Right. I think I have to figure out a format. What I have seen is when you are explaining something, you have to explain it 3 times. So it helps the audience understand. My wife is watching something. I think she was watching Emma on Netflix, and the episode is done. Now she is trying to find something else to watch. She's wearing a noise cancelling headset. I don't think she can hear me. Can you hear me, Madhu? 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 Okay. She's smiling. I don't know if she is not reacting. Even I mean, she can hear me and she is not reacting, or she cannot hear me. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, alright, we're coming back. Time max 6 minutes. I was thinking if it should be 2 minutes, but then it has to be extremely interesting and really fast paced. for someone to watch a 2 minute video, right? I mean, that's how at least I have uh, seen these 2 or 3 minute videos to be. And if it is 6 minutes, I can blabber a little, and I can also talk about things in a little more detail. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying. Cool. So the topics are the table of contents, or why you should use this framework, what I mean by users, what I mean by content and context. I don't know if I should talk about what is a tangible output of an exercise that uses this framework, right? Is there anything tangible that you can create, right, by following this framework? I don't know if you can, because anything tangible needs a little more focused activity. Right, for example, if we are working on navigation redesign, it needs some amount of labeling, categorizing, uh, maybe even defining alternatives for the labels. Uh, how do you cross list them and so on, right? But again, in a navigation exercise, how do you consider users, content, and context, right? So yeah, let's see. I don't know if I can give anything that you can use to apply this, and yeah, okay. I think we've been streaming for 30 minutes. I'll stream for maybe another 10-15 minutes. Okay, I'm going back to the book. Let me see if I can what I can muster. Okay. Okay, I think maybe I should explain this with an example. But again, if I take an example, I don't know if it will become too specific to a use case. For example, you know, giving an example of an example. Um, an example help. You can say hi to my audience, what if you want. They're good. Okay. I know you are good. Oh yeah, I recently watched Vikram. Tend to digress. It's a nice movie. I'll definitely recommend anyone who likes Kamal or Tamil movies to watch it. Okay, examples. Let's say I take Spotify as an example, right? And if I have to break up Spotify into users, content, and context, right? I'm taking a screenshot of Spotify desktop home screen, right? And of course, it is very tailor made for my account, right? But again, the elements are going to be the same, right? Now, when we talk about users, who are the users of Spotify? Users are anyone who likes to or wants to listen to music. Maybe they want to listen to it for free. They don't mind ads, or they are someone who are okay to pay a nominal fee, right? And yeah, listen to songs without any interruption of ads. Right, I have a premium account. Let's say we are talking about a user a specific kind of user inside Spotify who is a premium user. Uh, Now, if we take the premium user as an example, business goals of Spotify, I think one the North Star metric for Spotify is active listening time, I think, or is it just listening time? Let's figure it out. Spotify listen. Okay. North Star metric. Okay, time spent listening is Spotify's North Star metric because everything ties or Spotify's revenue is tied to the amount of time their users listen to music or podcast on Spotify. Right. Um, so yeah, let's say that is the business context, right? And as the sections that I see in the homepage of Spotify are, I see a banner. They are called announcements, and if I there is a button to click or button to hide announcements, and if I click on it, it no longer shows. It might be because they don't want people to think that they are pushing ads to premium users. Now that is that I would consider as context. Right, as a premium user, I am paying Spotify to not show me ads. But if there is a full width banner at the top, then it might be perceived as a banner ad, uh, especially for a premium user, right? So maybe that's the reason they one call these things as announcements, and of course, all of them are artist announcements or hits of uh, the last month or 2022, and so on. Right? They are never any ads, so they can wrap it as announcements also. Right. So yeah, they have a button that says hide announcements. Now, okay. The next item is my library, what I listen to below announcements is my library. My liked songs, what I listened to recently. Uh, yeah, the artists that I listened to recently. And popular with listeners of, the next section says popular with listeners of FT News Briefing. So I listen to this podcast called Financial Times News Briefing. It's roughly 7 to 10 minutes long, and there is a new episode every day. Right, and they talk about headlines of mostly international news and sometimes or many times US obviously gets more importance compared to US news gets more important compared to other news. So yeah, that's, and they show me a bunch of podcast uh, podcasts in that popular with listeners of FT News Briefing. And the next section is made for Amarniti. Right. So here, of course, if you are not familiar with Discover Weekly, there are so many articles and case studies written on Discover Weekly, Spotify's Discover Weekly feature. I would strongly recommend you to go read that and how it highly influenced converting a lot of users or made a lot of users will find or engage with Spotify in a much bigger fashion or much higher fashion. I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, basically, it's a very important feature for Spotify. And under Made for Amanidi, first item is Discover Weekly. And they also show me daily mix 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Right, and and then the next one is recently played. Again, this is very similar to uh, the section just below the announcements card, but the thumbnails are bigger, and etc. And there is also jump back in, which again I think it only consists of playlists and yeah, I think it has only playlists and albums. It doesn't have anything else, but I'm trying to figure out what is the difference between recently played and jump back in. Maybe jump back in is a little older than recently played. Alright, and then Diwali celebration. I don't know why they are showing me Diwali celebration. Diwali is at least 3 months away from now, if I'm not wrong. Um, Alright, and then workout is a section, India's best is a section, and so on. I think all of these sections are created and shown and tested again and again, but that's not important. Coming back to our users' content context, right? So I'm the user, and the user type is premium user, and context, the business context is the amount of time spent listening on Spotify. Um, and some more context to it is what are the songs that I have uh, listened to previously, because even though this also falls under the content, to come up with the content that I've already engaged with is used. So in that sense, it becomes the context for the information architecture that of this page at least. All right, I think that makes sense. One aspect of context that um, may also be applicable is uh, the content creators, right? Because the content creators, I'm sure their objective is to find as many audience uh, as they can through Spotify. And of course, it is on Spotify as much as it is on content creators to help find users or audience for podcasts. It's okay. Let me start writing this. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, okay, I have a section for users. I'm creating a section for context and then content. Okay, content, under context I'm listing business goals, content that I engaged with in the recent past, and this can be songs, this can be both songs and podcasts, right? And not just recent past, my entire history of my entire Spotify, I'm gonna call it listening history. Spotify might augment uh, content that I engage with in other platforms. Now, I don't know if Spotify does this or not, but there is a good chance that Spotify gets this data from. Okay, let me. This is driving me crazy. So many times, what happens is these giant tech companies they share content behind the scenes. For example, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Everyone might be sharing data on. what each user is doing on their platform, and then they may try to extrapolate and see if build a richer user profile. Let's say I'm engaging with FT News briefing on Spotify. Spotify might share, and again, I want to put a strong disclaimer that I don't know if Spotify shares it, but this is a hypothetical. This is a hypothetical scenario or an example, right? Spotify might share this information behind the scenes with Google, and Google might tailor uh, my search results or my YouTube content based on this preference as well, right, among other preferences. So that also becomes content I engage with in other platforms. Okay, what else becomes content? Sorry, context. Let me go back. Oh, yeah, Spotify, focus, or general, Spotify, announcements. This could be anything, right? But again, I think this will fall under content, maybe not under context so much. Um, okay. Yeah, content that I engage with can be genres, playlists, artists, what else? Languages also plays a languages, activity. Okay. Yeah, I think activity based. I don't know. I should. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So what falls under content? Anything that Spotify's algorithms come up with based on my context, right? And the goal for the content is for the content and the algorithm is to increase my listening time, sorry, time spent listening. Okay, yeah, I think that's a good example. Of course, this is very specific, and this is yeah. I don't want to put any disclaimers. Yeah, I think this sounds good. I think taking an example will definitely help. I need to use Venn diagram to show how use Venn diagram to show users content and context and how they are related. Okay, maybe I need to curate a little more content for what I mean by content and context. Curate a definition of what is content and context. Okay, okay. And okay, I'm gonna put these things under to do so I don't forget. Right. Yeah, it was a TED video. Watch the TED video and the other YouTube video on how to present an idea or general presentation or any presentation. Explain explain 3 times, build on a single idea, etc. Alright, cool. Okay, I think we are good. I think we will continue with this tomorrow as well. Day after tomorrow, I am traveling, so I may or may not make this live streaming. But yeah, until then, see you guys.